Hi guys, welcome back to another a chapter day series. Yay! I know I said I was going to start showing my face, but you know, I want to just be in the moment. Like I don't want to say, "Oh, I'm waiting for, my interest or that kind of like flare or that spark to just pop out that will make me want to show my face on a chapter day." But I wanted to I don't want to use the word perfect, but I'm going to use the word perfect. I wanted to be perfect. So yeah, I'm just looking for the perfect time. I know it can't be a perfect time, but I'm just looking for that good time. Anyways, welcome back to another chapter day series. I hope you guys are doing fine and staying all right. I was updating the chapter day website and it was almost like 12 midnight for me, which is pretty late, but I didn't record it yesterday because I was so sleepy and I was yawning in between the whole series, which was just sad, I guess. So yeah, I did the easy thing, I did the mature thing, which was to postpone it till today. So yeah, so previously on First Samuel, we talked about the Israelites wanting a king. I need to just gasp because it's annoying. The Israelites want a king, and God's like, wow, you still want a king after everything you've gone through. So, just to go a little bit off tangent, if you remember in the book of Joshua, Joshua kind of passed the message to the Israelites. He foreshadowed what was going to happen in the book of Samuel when the Israelites will come against the Philistines. He said that the Israelites, or he rather taught that the Israelites should never idolize the person God brings them to, God gives them to lead them. If that makes any sense. The person God, brings as a forerunner or a prophet, they should never idolize that person. But I feel like the Israelites portray what they went through or what they're going through, portrays what happens when you don't, develop a personal and intimate relationship with God first, versus having something with God's prophet or God's forerunner, or just having that personal thing with the person, in sense of you're making that person your God. So the Israelites did not establish a personal and intimate relationship with God. They more or less established that personal and intimate relationship with the forerunners, with the prophets of God. They didn't do it with God. And that's why when they didn't have a king, when they didn't have a leader, they were useless because they didn't know how to communicate with God. And I relate that into like today's society where most people, and I don't hate pastors, I don't hate church, but most people, they tend to want to make the pastors their God, and they're developing this personal and intimate relationship with the pastors, but they forget about God. So basically, when the end times come, your pastor will go, you go, what will you have with God? What will you have to show with God? So yeah, develop something personal and intimate with God before you try to develop anything with your pastors. So yeah, that was just like a side tangent because I feel that's what the Israelites are suffering and ripping from. So yeah, the Israelites want a king. God is really, really upset alongside Samuel. Samuel is also trying to tell them, can't you see what you've gone through? Can't you see the things you've experienced? You're going to fail if you keep on relying on man and not on God. But the Israelites don't listen. They go on with their thoughts. So today we're reading First Samuel chapter 9, and it is how many verses? It is 27 verses, which is pretty long. I mean, like, it's interesting, but it's long yet again. So in today's chapter, it talks about Saul's journey. So basically, Saul is this boy or man. Saul is this man whose father is called Kish. So he's the son of Kish. Now Kish had sheep that got missing, so he sent Saul and a few other soldiers to go along with him. Well, they weren't necessarily called soldiers. Soldiers. They weren't necessarily called army forced people. They were called servants. So they all went along to go to look for Kish's sheep. But on the way there, one of the men talked to Saul and he was like, wow, if we want to know where these sheep are, let's go meet the seer. So basically, the seer was the person you'd go to meet if you want to inquire of God. And they believe that if you go meet the seer, he'll pray to God, and they'll be able to know where the sheep is or where the ship is at. And sincerely, I don't say that I don't connect with that kind of belief, but I don't think it's necessary for you to need someone to be able to communicate with God or for you to be able to pray with God. I know like everybody carries some different form of grace and stuff like that, but I feel like God has given us that ability and grace to communicate with Him. Again, going back to what the Israelites did, the Israelites had the ability to communicate with God, they had the grace to communicate with God, but they didn't have enough faith to manifest it. So that's why they needed a king to help them. So I feel we all have that grace. You just have to have faith that, okay, I'm talking to God and He's going to listen to me. If you're having those thoughts like, I'm just talking and nobody's listening to me and no one can hear me, no one's going to respond to me, that is lack of faith. So have to have very high faith to be able to communicate with God. Anyways, that's just by the way. So yeah, so the men were like, oh, let's go see the seer. Saul's like, okay. So after he went to go and see the seer, Samuel is a seer, but upon different situationships, Saul ended up meeting Samuel, and so Samuel was like, whoa, you're the person God told me to make king. And Saul is shook it. He's like, what? What are you saying? How am I the person God said you should make king? Anyways, that's just straightforward, confusing. You don't really know what God has planned for you. I guess that was God's will for Saul. He's Saul's desires at that point was, I just want to find my father's sheep. But God had another plan for him, which was to make him king of Israel. So yeah, sometimes our plans don't always, tally with God's plans for us or God's will for us. But it doesn't matter because God's will for us is the most ideal thing for us. We don't really know what the future holds, but what am I saying? God's plans are our future. They are a definite future for us. Our future is God's past. So He already knows what's going to happen. So that's why you should follow His will. Like, I get shivers when I'm like, wow, God knows what's going to happen in my future. Wow. Whoa. Okay, so that's all for today. I don't have any memory verse because I don't have any memory verse. I really don't know what to justify me not having a memory verse. I don't want to say, oh, I was tired, I was lazy, I was procrastinative, I did not have any discipline to open my Bible and read yesterday. But it's okay. It's good. It's really, really good. It's okay. I won't kill myself because of that. Read my Bible today and have the memory verse for the next chapter. Okay, so I hope this was enlightening and helpful in some manner and in some sort. And have a good day. Bye. See you in the next chapter.